This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. I lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand. It starts with a voice.
Welcome back to the Special Chronicles podcast. This is season 9, episode 3 of our EnergyForce series, produced in partnership with ComEd. I'm Daniel Smrokowski, your host and founder of Special Chronicles and a ComEd EnergyForce ambassador. And today we're exploring a topic that's driving the future of clean transportation, electric vehicles. Our guest today is Kara, manager, marketing and customer education at ComEd. In this episode, we'll talk about how EVs are reshaping the way we move, how ComEd is supporting customers through innovation and education, and how disability-led advocacy is helping build a more inclusive, clean energy future. Before we jump in, a quick reminder for full show notes. Follow Special Chronicles on social media, subscribe to the newsletter, and to the podcast, and listen to more episodes on demand of our Special Chronicles podcast EnergyForce series at specialchronicles.com/EnergyForce. That's specialchronicles.com/EnergyForce, or you can scan the QR code that is right above me somewhere there. You all see it if you're watching the video on the YouTube. And let's get started and put your virtual hands together. And welcome, she reminded me in the pre-show, but welcome back to the Special Chronicles podcast. Kara.
Hey, Daniel, how are you?
Good. I had to say welcome back because you reminded me. I think I was trying to get to in the pre-show that over 800 episodes. Almost 18 years. It's hard to remember if guests have been on in the past.
I can't even imagine. I feel like you're so busy and just show after show coming out with new topics and things. So I tip my hat to you because you are doing a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, I just yesterday I recorded an episode with a friend from Australia who came out with a new book that was an hour and 45 minutes, and I think it was his three-time guest. So yeah, so
you're making me follow that, Daniel. I better bring some good tips.
What else? 2-time guest. So so let's get going and remind our new listeners, because even if we have old listeners, like the host can't even remember what episode a previous guest has been on. So remind myself and our listeners who you are, your work, and your connection to EVs or clean energy.
Sure. So my name is Kara Schwer. I'm a manager in our marketing group at ComEd, and I'm currently over our residential energy efficiency offerings and was just over our electric vehicle programs from a marketing perspective. So it's just, there's a lot of great work happening on both teams, and I'm excited to be back because I think last time we talked about residential energy efficiency and now we're talking about electric vehicles. So all just really exciting stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. And a lot of these topics, being an EnergyForce ambassador, we don't get into a lot of these in-depth topics or a lot of these kind of extra topics of what ComEd is doing to help the community. So I'm glad that we're able to bring more depth to our listeners and to the ComEd customers and community. So as we mentioned, the main topic for this episode is electric vehicles. And as we stout your engines, right? You can say that, start your engines as we start your if someone just starts their EV journey and in getting grounded with ComEd's EV resources, what sparked your interest in electric vehicles?
So I admittedly didn't know much about them a few years ago, and I went to lunch with someone who had an electric vehicle. It was a colleague of mine, and he drove, and we got in the car, and I just thought, wow, this is really sleek, and this is really high tech and quiet and smooth, and I was instantly interested in them. So, and just learning more about them, because I feel like until you're in one, it's hard to understand kind of what the ride is like. So that was initially what sparked my interest in them. And then being able to work on the programs and market them, was able to learn a little bit more about just the variety of residential EVs and business EVs, and kind of getting to know that whole world. And it's an innovative world. It's cool. It's healthier for the environment, more sustainability. So I think all of those things kind of combined led me to be kind of more interested in that.
Awesome. I know, I'm sure a lot of our listeners have seen electric vehicles parked, whether it's in their neighborhood or now in a lot of parking lots and garages. They've got them. I know a pilot friend of mine in DC. I flew out there last August, and she picked me up, and it was in electric. I think it might have been a Tesla, which I'm assuming is an electric vehicle. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm sure a lot of people might not totally understand. So, speaking to the people who might not totally understand EVs, what do you think people misunderstand most about EVs?
Yeah, I think one of the things we hear a lot at our events, and I'm sure the EnergyForce ambassadors hear this too, is the myth around an EV cannot accommodate a road trip or a longer trip. So that's not necessarily the case. So what we've seen is that many EVs today can drive 200 to 300 miles on a single charge. The other thing too is that just like you would going on a road trip, you're planning to stop for gas and maybe pick up some snacks. That's the best part of a road trip, in my opinion. I don't know what your favorite road trip snack is. Mine, I got to think about this, but mine might be, I got to go with the candy route. I got to go like Starburst or sour gummies. What's yours?
Mine would be peanut butter M&Ms.
Okay, that's a good one. I feel like that's a popular one. So bringing that up, it's great to just plan ahead for those road trips. So just like you'd stop at a gas station, you would find a charging area where you can plug in your EV, you get out, you're stretching your legs while it's charging, you're going to get your peanut M&Ms or your Starburst, you are maybe just going for a walk, and 30 minutes or an hour later, depending on the charger, if it's a fast charger, your car is fully charged and you're ready to go. So it's a matter of that. Or if you don't want to stretch your legs, I know I was chatting with someone the other day, and she was saying that they watched her EV specifically had like a video console. So she was able to watch Netflix. So whatever you're watching on Netflix right now, maybe you watch one episode and then your car is ready to go. So that is one thing, that is one myth. The other thing too that I wanted to mention is there was a lot of talk this past winter, which we got through it. We're finally, I don't know if you have been outside lately, but it finally feels like summer. But this past winter, such extreme cold weather, there was a lot of talk about, can EVs handle the cold? And the thought there is that just like you would for your gas-powered vehicle, you really just have to plan. So not getting it to this point of the car dying, or kind of like similar with gas, making sure you keep your gas tank half full. You would do the same with your EV. Make sure it's fully charged, and realizing that, the battery will drain a little bit faster when it is in that extreme cold weather. But the whole key there is just planning for it and being prepared.
Awesome. I want to bring up something. I know, obviously, for the ComEd audience that's in Northern Illinois, but with this podcast series, we have listeners across the country, across the globe. And I saw a story online about there's a highway in Florida, and I forgot which city it is, but there's a highway in Florida that is testing out just like we've got like the green bike lanes in Chicago, a green lane where EVs, where electric vehicles can drive. I think right now it's just a stretch, but I think eventually electric vehicles will be able to drive, and you wouldn't have to stop and charge. I don't know if you've heard about that story, and I get that it's down in Florida and it's not in the northern Chicago area, but I don't know if you've heard of that story or if.
I'm gonna look that up after this because I'm very curious about that. Something similar is, I know somewhere they had a highway lane for if you were carpooling, you were able to use that lane and skip some of the traffic. I mean, kind of similar idea to potentially contributing to a more sustainable environment and being able to benefit from that. So it's kind of that same idea. I'm hesitant for the city, like thinking through the logistics of that, knowing how much construction we have now, Daniel. We might not want to say anything yet.
Yeah. Like,
but I like that idea.
Yeah, especially like by Lakeshore Drive and some of those. But even on like some of the highways going, whether you're coming from the west or south or north, I was going to say east, but that wouldn't. I don't think anybody's coming. It's going to be driving over the lake, but it might be a little difficult. ComEd has a residential EV toolkit. Share with our listeners how ComEd's residential EV toolkit can help new EV owners explore cost savings and charging options. I'm assuming they can find it on comed.com/EV.
That's correct. Yeah. So I'm glad you brought this up because our EV toolkit is a great resource for customers, whether they're considering an EV, whether they are they're just curious about them, they don't know yet, or whether they're EV owners. So it's really a one-stop shop that allows customers to calculate savings potential. So let's say that you have a gas-powered vehicle right now, and you're just curious, what would it be like cost-wise for me to shift and move into that EV environment and have an EV? So you can put in information like what your current car is now, the make, the model, the average mileage, and then it'll spit out exactly the savings that you would see when you were to switch to an EV. So it's very customer friendly. It's easy to use because those calculations can be a little bit intimidating. And the thought of me trying to think through and having to calculate that on my own is a little overwhelming to me personally. And I'm sure some customers feel that same way. So the way that this toolkit works is they really do the math for you, and it's visually appealing. I like it personally because I can see the breakout for saving on gas and the different vehicle options that you have. The other thing too that it has that I find to be really helpful is it shows different ways that customers can get chargers. They can look up our public charging stations in the service territory. They can also just learn about EVs in general because a lot of times it's hard to envision what they could look like, and it shows a cool picture and graphics and information on the ways that they work. So it's easy to understand and really intuitive for the customer.
Awesome. And I'll try to put that comed.com/EV in. We've got a list of resources on specialchronicles.com/EnergyForce or specialchronicles.com/ComEd. And if our listeners scan that QR code, that is right now, it looks like it's above you, Carl, but it might be above. I don't know how the viewer is going to see this, but either scan that or you all should, if you're watching the video on the YouTube or on LinkedIn or Facebook, then you should see it going across the top of your screen, I think. So that nifty tag there. Moving right along to EV models and features. And again, you said if our listeners go to comed.com/EV, they can see pictures. What features do you think most matter when choosing an electric vehicle? Is it going right to a Tesla or, yeah?
I think it depends on a couple of things. I think it depends on personal preference and what's important for you. So I think for me, I value the technology and the look and feel of the inside of the vehicle. And if it seems like a good fit for me, also I value the fact that there's, lower fuel and operating costs and there's no maintenance costs. So having no oil changes and no tune-ups, no work to the transmission is really important and saves me time and energy and money. So that's super important. And then also just the element of the no emissions. So helping reduce air pollution and supporting those cleaner energy goals that are important to me personally. But I think the whole thing about that is it really depends on the person, and it depends on kind of what each person's personal preference is.
Awesome. And how do you see EV technology evolving over the next few years? Because as technology is always evolving over, like I was just listening to this comedy podcast called, I guess we'll give another podcast a plug, the Public Figures podcast, and they just last week they talked about the year 2000, and I don't know. I mean, I think I was probably in 5th grade doing that in elementary school. I don't know about you, but so back.
Yeah.
Right around there. So technology is always changing. So how do you see EV technology evolving over the next few years?
Yeah, I think so. The last that I was looking into this, I read that Northern Illinois is actually outpacing the national average 4-1 with EV adoption. So people are interested in it. They're adapting to the changes in it. And I know that Illinois has a goal of having 1 million EVs on the road by 2030. So I feel like we're only going to get more advanced with the technology. We'll continue to grow the infrastructure. So like the charging that's available to customers, and it's on the rise. So people are interested in it. I don't know about you, but when I'm walking around or, taking Ubers, things like that, I'm seeing more and more EVs as time keeps going. So it's exciting.
Awesome. And moving right along, as we'll kind of wrap up this segment, what excites you about the growing variety of EV models available to consumers? About there's so many EV models. What excites you most about how these models?
Yeah, I think the variety is really cool to think about, because a few years ago, you kind of only knew about maybe just a residential sedan that was available. And now we're looking at EVs for residential customers and now businesses. And we're looking at a variety of SUVs, sedans, electric school buses now, which is so cool and amazing to be a part of kind of that shift in transformation. So that, and then also EVs in terms of fleet vehicles. So like I've seen some semi trucks that have been EVs that are extremely impressive, and just cool to see that all come about and see that all happen in real time. And it's only going to get bigger and better.
Awesome. And, as we now switch over to, turn the switch. I don't have an EV, but I'm assuming EVs have a switch they can switch, possibly. I don't know. Yeah. So switching over to charging at home and in public, even like I've had a busy day today, but even like just walking down the street, I've noticed those in an electric vehicle that people are charging in the driveway or in the garage. Or like my pilot friend in DC, when she pulls into the into her garage, she charges it. What should first-time EV owners know about home charging, about charging their EV at home?
Yeah, so there is a level 2 charger that you could get for your home, and it's fast enough to fully charge your car while you sleep. So that's kind of the nice, convenient thing about it. You come home from work or dropping the kids off at all their sports, and then you're finally in for the night. You plug in your car, and then you'll wake up the next morning and it'll be charged. And this, of course, depends on where your battery is at and the type of charger and that sort of thing. But they say that it can range from 4 to 10 hours to fully charge your car. And to your point, I know at our offices, we have chargers as well. People are always scoping out when it's going to be available, and they'll plug in for a couple hours and then move to a regular spot. So that's good to know. And I know there's a bunch of information on that toolkit too, if customers are interested in just different types of level 2 chargers that could be involved in the house. I know my brother and sister-in-law just moved from the city to the suburbs, and they're looking into an EV. And my brother did reach out to me like, hey, I need to get a download on installing a charger in my house because they do have the capability of doing that. So it's really convenient. And once the project is done, it's a great way for customers to be able to have that convenience of not having to stop at the gas station when they don't need to.
Awesome. I love that. And again, for those of you watching the video on the YouTube, I feel like that's what kids say, the YouTube. Well, maybe that's what old, I don't know. Comment.com/EV. But to kind of tie this question up, so a childhood friend that I think he's now married. He has a couple kids, and I can't wait to keep track of where exactly he lives now, but because he's lived in a few different states over the past few years. But back, and I'm not sure exactly when EVs started, but I feel like I remember I don't think it was the late 90s, but it's got to be in the early 2000s. Once we started driving when we were in high school. Yeah, that makes we were not driving in the 90s when we were kids. But it's on the record. Yeah, we were. So, but I think he was like, his family was one of the first people that I knew that had an EV, and this was in the early 2000s. And I remember he pulled up and he pulled up, and instead of in the driveway, he pulled up his electric vehicle in our front yard, and we had an outlet next to our front door, and he charged his EV in our front yard. So it's a little fun stuff. I don't know if people can get away with doing that now. But
he made himself at home over there.
And maybe I took I don't know. I don't remember taking a lot of pictures in the early 2000s. Didn't have a phone like I do now.
That could be your thumbnail for today.
If I can find the picture, that will be the thumbnail. But yeah, I should just text my friend and see if he has that picture, because that's awesome. How does ComEd support customers with rebates for level 2 home chargers? And I feel like on a past episode of this EnergyForce series, we briefly touched it. It might have been another guest, but we briefly touched on EVs just a little bit. But now we're obviously going more in depth, and so there's different types of home chargers. So, how does ComEd support customers for level 2 home chargers?
Yeah, that's a great question. So ComEd offers a variety of ways to help customers save, and in the EV environment specifically. So we help residential customers and business customers. So we do have I mentioned before, the EV toolkit, and that's a great resource for customers who are interested in the EV world and looking to look for ways to save and look for calculations on savings if they wanted to switch over. We do have rebates available for business customers. So that's if they want to convert to EV for their fleet. And a fleet is one vehicle or more. So that's a really great program that we offer. And also electric school buses. So we talked about that earlier. There's rebates on electric school buses for schools that are interested in going EV. The other thing I'll mention is that we did offer rebates on home chargers for level 2 purchase and installation of those chargers. That program is maxed out right now, but I encourage you to look online and keep an eye out for any openings, and just to kind of be in the know of the rebates that are available, because it is first come, first serve. So look online. ComEd.com/EV has everything that you need to know about where we're at with rebates, tools, resources, everything that you would want to know about that EV world.
Awesome. And so we'll just like for those of you watching, if you see it across the screen, but again, you can look in the show notes. So for this episode, and we'll make sure that you all, if you guys are driving and you're listening to this podcast, don't look down now when you're driving or you're walking, but do it safe. We'll make sure to include that link so you guys all can just look in the description for this episode and click on over to ComEd.com/EV so you get all the resources that you need. What has been your experience with public charging stations? I know we've probably seen them. I don't know about you, but pretty much like every garage now, or like not every public parking lot, but most now are having, just like we have accessible wheelchair parking spots. We now have 2 or 3 EV parking spots that are usually near the front of the parking lot or parking garage. So what's been your experience with these public charging stations?
You're exactly right. So public charging has come a long way. I can remember looking at the public charging map that we have on ComEd.com/EV and seeing that map and seeing, a few dots and a healthy amount, but then all of a sudden today and in the past couple of years, I've looked at it and the map, you can't even see the city names because there are so many public charging stations available. So that's a great way for customers to look to see where there are public charging stations. They can go on ComEd.com/EV and see that physical map there. And they're everywhere, I feel like, especially in high traffic areas and along major routes. So I feel very confident in them. Over the years, it's just like I said, the infrastructure has really expanded.
Awesome. And you mentioned at the beginning of the episode about people taking trips and having that road trip snack, whether it's Starburst, I believe you said, or in my case, peanut butter or M&Ms, or in my dad's case, chocolate. So we all have our a favorite. What tips would you give to someone planning their first long EV road trip?
Yeah, I would say the first thing is just to plan up front. So use that public charging map to plan a station along the way. And again, you would do this with a gas powered car too. When you're road tripping, you're planning, you're thinking through like how far along should we stop? So it would be the same thing with an EV. You would plan ahead and you would kind of just base it off of those public charging stations. So if you needed to hit one halfway through the trip, you could do that. And then plan ahead in terms of having a game plan for how far you're going to go and making sure that your car is charged up fully before you head out that day.
Awesome. And so we're recording this. I think the video podcast will come out probably just in time for the start of the summer season. I know we all switched on summer last couple weeks ago. I think it was a couple weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, I think, right? Yeah.
So even though we switched on summer, but like the summer travel season is just about to get started. So hopefully this will help all of our listeners to check out that EV map. And I'm assuming that they can find it on ComEd.com/EV.
That's correct. Yep, it's all right there, so they can look up there and plan their road trip.
Awesome. And moving just on, we're going to combine a few of these bullets just for the sake of time. And so as we talk about EV cost savings and energy efficiency, how can EV owners calculate potential fuel cost savings using ComEd's tools? And what are some simple energy saving habits that EV drivers can adopt? And then how do EVs fit into the broader conversation about energy efficiency and clean energy solutions?
Yeah, and I think for this one, really the answer to this is to use the toolkit to be able to calculate those savings that I mentioned earlier. And then also thinking through, like, maybe it makes sense to charge off peak hours, like overnight. So if you do have a level 2 charger, maybe you're charging overnight when electricity demand is lower, and that can help with reducing costs. So just really being intentional about how you save in your home. And it could be beyond EVs. It could be even just tips that you're saving, or energy saving tips that you're using in your home, like lowering your thermostat and having an Energy Star appliance. So little things like that can make a big difference. And then in terms of kind of fitting into that broader picture of everything, I think this is pretty obvious, but transportation is one of the largest sources of emissions today. Even walking around the city, you can see it. So shifting from gas to electric is a huge opportunity to reduce those emissions. And to me, it's about contributing to a cleaner environment and a sustainable future. So taking these steps really helps to get us there.
Awesome. And I know in my role as an EnergyForce ambassador, at whether it's the Switch on Summer or any other events that we have in the community, a lot of times people ask me, well, can we give them a free energy bill? And what I tell them is a lot of, whether it's electric vehicles or any other energy or solar efficiency, we're giving them the tools to save on their energy bill, which is better than giving them a free bill. Just take a little positive spin to that. As EVs and clean energy future is how we're going to have a brighter and more sustainable future. And so how do EVs support a cleaner, more sustainable future?
Yeah, I mean, EVs play a really important role in reducing the emissions and helping improve that air quality. So because they run on electricity, they produce zero tailpipe emissions, which is a big shift when you're comparing that to that traditional gas vehicle.
Awesome. And for this next topic or question might be obvious, but what role do EnergyForce ambassadors like myself play in educating communities about electrification and clean energy? It's okay if you say this EnergyForce podcast series, but I mean I won't hold you to that.
Of course, which I'm also just so happy to be on. So thank you again for inviting me. I think the EnergyForce program is one of the most impactful things that we do at ComEd. So what I love most about the ambassadors is the energy and the passion that bring to all of the events, really. Any event that I've been at, it's remarkable to see. So they educate customers on all of ComEd's programs beyond just EV and contributing to the cleaner energy future. It's really all things ComEd. So they're providing knowledge to all of our customers on financial assistance and energy efficiency savings tips so that customers can help save on their bills. And that's so crucial now more than ever with affordability and providing customers the help that they need. So the EnergyForce Ambassador Program has played such a crucial role in that, and we're really excited to partner with them.
And if our listeners want to learn more, I believe I put up the right website on there. ComEd.com/EnergyForce is where people can learn more and meet the team. I am one of, I should know how many. I don't know how many ambassadors. Well, you all can just go there and find out and learn more, or get your organization involved, because I think the applications usually open at the end of the year. And if you want to all of our EnergyForce related podcast content, you can find. Listen and follow at specialchronicles.com/EnergyForce, or just scan that QR code that is above us on the screen if you're watching it on the YouTube or the LinkedIn. I think that's what kids say, and maybe, I don't know. What inspires you most about the shift toward electrified transportation?
I think it's really two parts. It's ComEd making this topic more approachable and accessible, even if that means someone who's new to EVs in general and using a free calculator to simply learn more and is someone that's curious about it. And then I also think it's that mindset of shifting to a more sustainable world and environment. It doesn't have to be these big changes or these big upgrades. It could just be shifting your mindset to be a little bit more energy efficient, or making smaller steps in your everyday life to help contribute to, a cleaner atmosphere and environment, and having kind of that mission in your mind where we're trying to do little things each day that contribute to this bigger picture.
Awesome. And as we come to this final segment, I know that the past half hour has flown. Maybe I shouldn't say flown by. The past half hour has. I'm trying to have an EV type on here. Has driven by? I don't know.
Sped by, maybe? I don't.
Yeah. Flown by sounds better.
Not that we endorse speeding, but
no. Spud by. Yeah, let's in case the legal team is listening to this, we don't endorse. ComEd does not endorse speeding, but yeah, has sped by. What are your final thoughts on joining the Special Chronicles podcast EnergyForce series today, and what message do you hope that listeners will take away about EVs and clean energy?
I appreciate that. I am so impressed by all of the work that you're doing. Before we even started recording, we started talking through all of your accomplishments and everything that you're juggling and keeping in the air. So I am so impressed by that. It's motivating me to take on more and drive change. And I think that's incredible. And honestly, I'm just really grateful to be a part of the conversation. So what makes this series so special is that it's not just about technology or latest innovations or energy transformation. It's really about the people and the community. And so programs like EnergyForce and what you're doing today is helping with education and inclusion and clean energy and all of these really remarkable topics and things that really matter to customers and people and the community. So I'm really grateful to be on, and I appreciate everything that you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was just reflecting just a couple of weeks ago when we left the Switch on Summer event, that just how grateful I am for in inclusion, because what some of our listeners might know by listening to, because this is now season 9 of this series, that it really is inclusion. It's staff, it's the event manager team, and all of us EnergyForce ambassadors are people with disabilities. So it's people with and without that are educating the public about energy and solar efficiency, just like what we're doing with this podcast series. So it really is ComEd really with this EnergyForce ambassador program is really taking inclusion to a whole new level that not a lot of companies are doing.
Mm-hmm. That's
so.
amazing.
Yeah, so I'll give another. Our audience will applaud for ComEd there. We got one final question that we don't just want our listeners to. Well, we want our listeners to listen and learn and be educated and informed. But even more than that, we want our listeners to really take have a call to action to take inclusion into their lives. And so we've got a bumper, so let's go ahead and roll that bumper to introduce this final question.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising.
Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
Difference.
Our demands are
equality.
Dignity.
And the recognition of our
shared humanity. We will not stop
or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
more divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution
is inclusion.
Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
So ever since I attended the 2019 Special Olympics World Games in Abu Dhabi, which was back in 2019, I've been asking this final question to kind of give that call to action to our listeners, and we're going to put a little bit of an EV clean energy type spin to it to kind of fit along with this topic. And how do you define inclusion in your life, in your work, and why is inclusion so essential in conversations like the one that we just had the past 40 minutes about today about clean energy and technology?
I think for me, inclusion is about making people feel seen and heard and able to participate and welcomed. And it's more than just having a seat at the table. It's about making people feel comfortable to speak up and feel like their perspectives are heard and valued. And I think inclusion here is critical because clean energy and technology impacts everyone. And we want to ensure that everyone has access to the information and the resources that I talked about today. And I think ComEd does a really good job of providing these resources and tools to everyone, no matter where they're at in their journey, and making sure that it's accessible to everyone. So that's crucial and is really important, just beyond the technology and beyond the innovations, just from a human element perspective and community perspective. So that's where I sit with that one.
Awesome. Thanks again, Kawa, for coming on the Special Chronicles podcast, EnergyForce Ambassador. You've now been a 2-time guest, just like my friend Tim Shriver, chairman of Special Olympics, the 2-time guest. And so maybe next season we'll be able to find another topic to move up on the. I feel like we should have like a little leaderboard of how many guests have been on.
I want to be at the top, and we can't go 2 more years without chatting again. We gotta get back.
Well, definitely, yeah. And I can't believe we missed each other at the Switch on Summer.
What a great event, by the way. Everyone that put all that work into it, it was incredible.
Yeah, well, and it was so that I think you said your cousin, or so it had come up, and it was just when she was asking me where you were, I was like, I recognize that name because we were just emailing back and forth.
Yes.
Oh, such a small world.
It is. That's incredible. What a great event. Great weather. Summer's officially here. And now I need to go pick up some Starburst, and I feel like I need to get some peanut M&Ms too.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And my girlfriend and I talked about the Switch on Summer. If you are listening, go over to the Georgia and Daniel podcast. You can find it linked on specialchronicles.com or wherever you get your podcast, and hear us talk about that event and our adventures from the Switch on Summer to walking along the river walk, 15,000 steps, I think 7 miles total that day.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
I hope you got some good food too while you're out here, because you guys needed it.
Yes, we did get lunch after that too. Not just the snacks that was at our ComEd booth, but actual food. So until then, thank you again, Kawa, and we will. That's a wrap on season 9, episode 3 of the Special Chronicles podcast, EnergyForce series. A big thank you to our guest Kawa, manager of marketing and customer education at ComEd, for joining us and sharing their whole insights on electric vehicles and the future of clean transportation. As we close out today's conversation, remember that you can find the full show notes, follow Special Chronicles on social media, subscribe to the podcast, and listen to more episodes on demand at specialchronicles.com/EnergyForce. Or scan that QR code that is above the screen on the upper right or upper left of the screen, specialchronicles.com/EnergyForce. And don't forget, while you are there, subscribe to our newsletter so you never miss a new episode or the latest updates from our EnergyForce series, including an exciting all-new 10-part series coming this summer right here on Special Chronicles that you do not want to miss. And until then, remember, choose to include. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles podcast. Our podcast was produced by Daniel Smrokowski on the Special Chronicles Network. Follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Subscribe, rate, and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Our website, specialchronicles.com, where you can stream our archives of over 500 episodes for free. Also, there's a list of our favorites, original series, award-winning columns, and blogs. And sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive bonus content delivered to your inbox. Again, specialchronicles.com. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard. Thanks, as always, to our business manager, Adam Smrokowski, who always encourages us to never give up. I'm Daniel Smrokowski, back next week with more stories.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.